Although overall, I would say that Joker's game offensively is more complete than Giannis's. I'm not saying that
No,
Giannis
wait,
doesn't have the
yo,
passing.
no.
Not
We
saying that Giannis
searched this
doesn't have the
up.
passing.
Sam,
He does.
Welcome everyone to the very first episode of the Sports Podcast. That's Sports with two S's. It's me,
Yes.
Shrieker Caligola, and my co-host, Sam.
Sam Bartlett. Yes, Sam Bartlett. I'm here with Shrieker today. We're going to be talking about the future, specifically 2023 for the NBA, some of our predictions for players, teams, young talent, older talent, just, the whole nine.
First topic on the agenda, top 10 players. So I have my top 10. Sam had his top 10. We both made our top 10s earlier.
Yes.
Sam, you want to explain your top 10? You got some interesting players here.
It's basically, so essentially what I based mine off is just what is right, essentially. What you could say.
Sorry, what? Okay,
yeah, just what is right. So number one, we have Giannis. I don't think this one is super controversial. I think he was the best player last season. I think he was the best player the season before. You saw the way that he carried his team past the Suns. 100%. I think it could have been done again if it wasn't for that really tough Celtics team and that Middleton injury. I mean, he really did take that team to 7.
I honestly believe that if Middleton did not get injured, he would definitely the Bucks would have repeated. There's no way the Bucks would lose. I didn't
also
see it.
Establish here that Shrieker is a Bucks fan and a Hornets fan. I'm a Hawks fan. Yeah.
No bias on me, but the Bucks are repeated. No bias.
Yeah, Giannis just has his game is just so good. I mean, some say he could add a shot. I honestly don't think he really needs it. I don't think he would be going to the shot that often. I don't think he needs to. It's kind of like when I see LeBron shoot. Yes, he can make threes, but it'd be so much more efficient if he just drove every time and freight train through, freight train through people the way he does.
Yeah, but adding a shot to Giannis just adds another piece to his game.
Okay, number 2, I have Joker. What can I say? I mean, just a great overall offensive game, one of the best offenses. Just the passing is so otherworldly. His water polo passes he does. He says he used to play water polo. You can definitely see that with the one-handed passes. The size that he brings. I saw an interview with Jaren Jackson Jr. that actually says it doesn't matter with the slow players if they're slow, if they know how to use their body right. And you can definitely see that with Jokic. He's big. He can throw his weight around. He's 7-footer, and he's taking the shots above his head. He's already 7 feet. So to block that's an extreme effort. And then he might pump fake and do his little move to the basket, where you're
a Euro
he's
step.
Funny.
You're shaking your butt. What?
Pump fake and then go to the basket. He does that little pump fake. And he
okay, I get what you're
shimmies
saying.
over himself.
Okay.
But yeah, Joker, good shooter, very efficient in the post, very good passer, back-to-back MVP. Just the reason I have Giannis above him is because Giannis is also back-to-back MVP, and he's seen more success, and his defense is better. Although overall, I would say that Joker's game offensively is more complete than Giannis's. I'm not saying that Giannis doesn't have the passing.
No.
Not saying that Giannis doesn't have the passing.
Sam,
he does.
We searched this up. We
Jokic
searched
is more
this
efficient.
up.
His player efficiency rating is higher.
We searched this up. Offensive rating. Giannis is a 0.6 higher than Jokic. It's on the internet.
That's crazy. The player efficiency rating, it's very close either way. Jokic has a slightly higher player efficiency rating. Giannis has a slightly higher offensive rating. Whatever. Okay. What I'm saying, though, is that Joker is a better passer, and he can shoot. Giannis is also a great passer. Not discounting Giannis, but he's not a Jokic-level passer. But I do still have Giannis first, although I do think they can be interchangeable. I think you can make a case for Jokic being first. But me personally, just when Giannis gets a head full of steam, good luck. That's why I have him number 1. Okay, number 3, Luka. You saw what he did to the Suns. He's still super young. I think his MVP season is coming sooner rather than later. So that's why I haven't moved up so high. You have some older players who are still doing really well. but I'm going to bet on the younger talent for this next season. And he's really just proven himself. And now that he is adding the Mavericks added Christian Wood, they'll probably add some more pieces. I hope they would add some more pieces around Luka because they really need to start being contenders. I really like Luka, especially with like a good team around him. It sucks losing Brunson, but Dinwiddie's also good. So yeah, I'm seeing a good season for Luka. Again, his defense could be better. We'll see if he works on that. I don't think it matters that much if you just get the right wings around him, like Finney Smith and such. Okay, number 4, I have LeBron. I mean, I think LeBron has something to prove this season. I think he's probably angry with the way his team of octogenarians performed this year. We'll see how they do next year. But I think LeBron personally was really great this year. And I think we'll come back next year with something more to prove. Even though he will be very old, I don't think his age is not showing very much. Like, you can definitely see it, but it's not affecting him as much as you would think it would. So yeah, LeBron. Number 5, Embiid. Very serious candidate for MVP this year, even ahead of Giannis at most of the season on the MVP ladder. Say what you will about that later streaker. But yeah, he's looking like he's a good defender, decent, pretty good defender. He's got a great shot, one of the best shooting big men, shooting up there with Cat, I would say. Really doing something special with this. I'm excited to see them as a team next year, especially with Harden's probably putting in that work, seeing that he'd like decline that bigger contract. Tyrese Maxey, PJ Tucker, a really great defender next to Embiid, maybe could inspire Embiid.
Okay.
6, I have Curry. Speaking of Curry, number 6, I have Curry. I put Embiid ahead of him because Embiid's young. He still has room for improvement. Curry is older. He's at the top of his game. I think he'll still be great, but he just won his championship. I don't know. I could see him laying off a bit. Anything is possible with the Warriors, as Clay said. So you never know. Okay, number 7, I have Kawhi coming back off the injury. I think people, forgot about him. But I can see people like now that he's going to come back this season, people are hyped on him again. They remember him in those Raptors days when he was just dominant on both sides of the floor, putting all your favorite players on posters, blocking all your favorite players, making that rim shot. He's a fun guy. I like Kawhi at 7. 8, I have KD. I hope we get to see him on a new team because honestly, I'm sick of the Nets. I want to see them do a rebuild. I don't really care for the KD anymore. I like to see him somewhere new. I think that'd be interesting. I don't know if that'll happen though. But yeah, I mean, he's still a great player. Number 9. Okay, here's where it gets a little weird. Number 9, Zion. Zion is coming back this year. He has something to prove.
Okay.
He has been away. He can't just ride on like the promise of his talent anymore. He has spoken out in interviews that he really wants to make his city proud, wants to make his family proud. People were doubting him, thinking that he might want to go to a different team. He has like he's a superstar. Like he has that potential. As people I thought, he would act like that. He'd be like, oh, I don't really know. I thought he'd act like KD. But no, it seems like he really is a good guy, wants to be in New Orleans. And I don't blame him because New Orleans is a really promising team. Zion, one of the greatest athletic prospects we've seen since like LeBron James. I mean, I personally think I would know about Zion. I'm a big UNC fan. We suffered at the hands of Zion.
Blue Devils.
A bit.
Go Blue
Only
Devils.
for one game. Okay, you know what? Y'all beat us by 1 point when you had Zion. 1 point. Okay, so don't act like.
Hey, this is NBA, not college basketball, buddy.
Anyway,
this is NBA.
He dominated in college basketball, and I think I don't think the defense of the NBA is going to make much of a difference. He's good, and when he was playing, he was actually like 27 on limited minutes, wasn't he? Like 25, 27 on like minute restrictions.
He was averaging like 27 on 60% shooting. Like that's honestly really good. That's
him
crazy.
And Lonzo were putting up highlight plays. And he's a great passer too. He
was put in point guard. I remember one game I was watching, but he was put in the point guard position and he dominated. That's why Zion.
Yeah, I remember watching a game. I think Duke was playing Syracuse or something, and he made this crazy pass from half court to like a cutting RJ Barrett, and it was like one-handed, like boom, and it like bounced way too close to RJ, but he had put backspin on it so that it bounced like straight up into his hands. It was just such a beautiful pass. It really inspired me at like that, to see like such a phenomenal offensive talent be able to also dish the ball that way. So yeah, very underrated passer. I think he has a lot of potential there as well. And he's so fast. He just needs to watch his injury because like the rate he's moving at with that much weight, it's very like that's kind of dangerous for like leg injuries and ankle injuries and stuff. Okay, number 10, I have Trey. I'm a Hawks fan, so there might be some slight bias. but I'm putting him over Booker. I'm putting him over Tatum. I'm putting him over Ja. And you want
Over
to know why?
Jimmy
I know.
Buckets? Over Jimmy Buckets? Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
I
No,
did
no,
have Jimmy on
this
my
is
list, but then I switched him out with Zion, and I should have moved. I had Jimmy at 9, so I should have moved him to 10, but I wanted to have Trey on my list, basically just because I wanted to give this brand. Also, I think Jimmy's getting older and Trey's still young, so like sticking with that theme.
okay.
Trey, so if you look at other young talent, Booker, JT, Ja, they're very all hyped up right now. Their teams did somewhat well in the playoffs. But honestly, if you look at the playoff success of all those players, they're all the same in my mind. So what did Trey do? Not this year. This year, the Heat figured out the Hawks and shut them down. That's literally what it was. They figured out, oh, they don't have a ball handler, they don't have defense. They took advantage of that. We're trying to fix that with DeJounte Murray, but they took advantage of that. The year before, we surprised the league and we went to the Eastern Conference Finals. Trey played like a star the whole time, all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay, let's look at Jason Tatum this season. Played like a star, really played very well all throughout the East up to the Eastern Conference Finals. In the finals against the Warriors, he kind of shrunk away. So similarly to Trey, he played all the way up to the finals. He was in the finals, he shrunk away. Trey was eliminated by a better team that ended up winning the championship. Same thing with Ja. Played really well up until he was eliminated, not in the finals, not in the conference finals, in the second round by the Warriors, who ended up winning the championship. Kind of a similar deal to what the Hawks got last year with the Bucks. And then Booker is the same thing as Tatum. This year, underwhelming when he got destroyed by Luka. Luka made him his son. The year before, he was really great. Up until the finals, he kind of struck against the Bucks. I don't think he showed up very much against the Bucks. I think Chris Paul was sort of carrying, and Giannis just.
Well, he did have that 40-point game. He had back-to-back 40-point games in Game 3 and Game 4 last year in the finals.
In the finals,
but in the finals.
Yeah, but like towards the end. But
again,
he was
towards the end. But again, he could not get it done towards the end. And Chris Paul.
Okay, so yeah, he definitely he did better than JT. But this year he wasn't great. So I would put them all at the same level. And me personally, Trey, this season put up better numbers in terms of points and passing. I believe that's correct. You might have to fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure he averaged more points, and he averaged like 9 assists this year. I think Ja was up there with him, but not in points. Although I think Ja definitely deserved the most improved player. I'm really impressed with him. Okay, honorable mentions. Jimmy could have been top 10, was top 10 this year. Don't at me. He makes everyone around him better. His defense is amazing. His hustle is amazing. He's a great scorer in everywhere outside of the three. The three, that's his huge weakness. But doesn't matter. He's surrounded by a bunch of white guys who can shoot. Okay, Booker, obviously we know. Jason Tatum, we know. Ja, we know. This next year, I'm thinking Paolo. Again, another Dookie. Witnessed this firsthand.
Stop saying Dookie. Just say a Duke player. Duke.
They're called Dookies.
Come on. It's a Duke.
That's what people call them.
No, it's a Duke player. Keep going.
Okay,
keep going. I can't.
And then Darius Garland. I do really like Darius Garland. I got to witness the Hawks eliminate the Cavaliers. I was very impressed with Darius Garland. Really great young player. I do like what they're doing out there in Cleveland. I've actually been following Cleveland on Instagram ever since LeBron left. Seeing their rebuild has been really cool, and they've really struggled here with Garland. Whether they keep Sexland alive or Sexland, which is Sexton plus Garland, whether they keep that alive or not, I think Garland will still be really good. So yeah, I think he could be an honorable mention for top 10. You could also throw maybe like PG in there.
Okay, my turn. After that utterly horrible list.
That was utterly horrible.
Okay. I'll start from the bottom top. Start my top to bottom. I'll start from bottom top. My honorable mentions go to PG-13. People are forgetting how great of a shooting guard PG is when he is healthy. He's a top
playoff P
10 player.
Playoff P. Okay, that was a fluke. I'm sorry.
Okay, we're not going to talk about pandemic P, playoff P, whatever you want to say. All right. When PG-13 is healthy, he is one of the top players in the league. Is he top 10? I don't think so, because of how dominant the players above him are. That's why he's in the top of the honorable mention list. Next, I got Zion and Ja interchangeable, because we saw Ja and his breakout season this season, how he led a Memphis team who went from 30 wins to 56 wins. Like, that's crazy improvement. And I got Zion. Again, people are underestimating him for how good he is when he is healthy.
Exactly.
I got D-Book. I know there's a lot of slander on his name, but he's D-Book. He's good. He can shoot. He knows how to lead a team from time to time. Chris Paul's getting old. He maybe needs one more player to just take him to the next level.
I want to say something about D-Book.
Yeah.
I think the Kobe comparisons with these young players really bring them down. Like the whole thing with Tatum texting Kobe made his disappointing finals so much worse than they actually were. And same thing with the D-Book Kobe comparisons. When he doesn't live up to that Kobe name, it makes his failures so much worse than they actually are. Guys, Tatum and D-Book, they're good. They're not Kobe. Okay. I don't know why
Nobody
Devin
can
Booker
be
was ever
Kobe.
compared to Kobe. Devin
No.
Booker is like a really good Klay Thompson, in my opinion. Like he's a
Okay.
shooter, but he also has the finishing like Klay Thompson does not
Okay.
have, and the dribbling that he doesn't have, I would say. But it's sort of at a basic level, if you understand me.
Yeah.
Keep going.
And I got Trey. I know this might seem a little bit off to you, but I got Trey and my honorable mentions list, and I'll tell you why. Last year, Trey took a team to the conference finals on his back, and this
2 years
year
ago.
dealing or 2 years ago now, dealing with
Yeah.
injuries and his team dealing with injuries. I feel like Trey regressed a little bit, especially with the high expectations put on with this
Right.
season. But
Right.
he's still a top guy, maybe not top 10, maybe top 15 type of player, but just that extra leap. Let's see what he does this season, because I feel like the Hawks are a little bit in trouble. That the DeJounte Murray trade, you have two primary ball handlers now, right? And DeJounte Murray brings that defensive attribute that Trey lacks a little bit in his game. So,
Right.
so
A little
there's
bit.
two
Lacks
a little
completely
bit.
in his game. No, lacks completely. There's no defense coming from Trey Young.
So what are you going to do? Are you going to have Trey play off ball like Curry does a lot and let Trey be that Curry 2.0? I mean, nobody can be Curry, but that Curry type player. Or are you going to let Trey be that primary ball handler and let DeJounte Murray get that defensive play in like a Kawhi Leonard type player?
I'm thinking normally Trey is going to be handling the ball just coming down the court, but then sometimes when Trey is feeling like he needs to score, is getting shut down, like in that Miami situation, it's really helpful to have someone he can defer to that will be able to find not only him, but also other teammates. And we saw that DeJounte Murray, I was talking about players who were averaging a lot of assists. DeJounte Murray, I think, was one of those players who was actually averaging more assists this year than Trey Young, one of the few players. I think he might have averaged more, if I'm correct. And I think even DeJounte could be the handler. I think Curry works even better as a shooting guard than DeJounte does. As like a catch and shoot guy, DeJounte works as a very athletic shooting guard, Andrew Wiggins sort of type. But I would say, I think if you watch the Miami series, there were times where DeLon Wright would come off the bench and be the ball handler so that Trey could get some relief, sort of run around and make some shots off ball. And Trey is a great catch and shoot player. He doesn't do it a lot, but when he does, I was very impressed with how easily he could switch into the catch and shoot mode. And of course, we lost DeLon Wright in free agency, but DeJounte Murray is much, much, much better than DeLon Wright. And I love DeLon Wright on ball with Trey off ball. So I think with DeJounte Murray being a much improved version of DeLon Wright, we could really see them do some special things with Trey being off ball. Just something I didn't think we would see with this Hawks team, but I'm excited for it.
Okay, nice intake. So now let me get in my top 10. Number 10, I got Jason Tatum. And I'll tell you why. There have been players on my list, on Sam's list, on this list, where they have come short after such a great season. An example, Curry in 2016, unanimous MVP, broke the 3-point record in a single season, but came up short in the finals. Giannis in 2019, an MVP season, a great step, and lost to the hands of Kawhi after being up 2-0. You got LeBron in 2011 and 2012, first year in Miami, bam, to the finals, and lost to Dirk Nowitzki in 6 games. So you had superstar players who are going to fail in big moments. That's just how the game goes, right?
They all came back.
And they all came back. Giannis in 2021, LeBron in 2012, 2016, 2020. You got Curry who came back the next few years. You got all these players who came back. And I feel like Jason Tatum, this is the fork in the road for him. This is the fork in the road. Are you going to be that player who's going to step up and be an all-time all-star player? Or are you going to be a player like CP3 who just keeps on just like repeating his failures? That's the question that I have.
Or CP3.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but you're right. You're right.
See, that's what I think. Number 9, number 8, number 7, I think they're pretty explanatory. Embiid,
Yeah,
an MVP
totally.
caliber season, but I just don't think he's better than the top 8 guys on this list. He's good. That's why he's a top 10 player. I just don't see him better. Number 8,
I
Jimmy
like that you have Jimmy. I feel like he made Embiid
Jimmy is a top 10 player. You saw what he did in Miami, carrying that team, winning Game 6, taking them to Game 7, winning they lost on a last-minute shot. If Jimmy Butler made that 3, that is a win, right? So Jimmy Butler is definitely a top 10 player. Number 7, Kevin Durant. I think people are underestimating Kevin Durant off of his trade rumors, but you cannot forget one of the greatest scorers all time in KD, top 2. He's not 1, but he's 2. You got Luka at 6.
He's 1.
Yeah, that's another story. You got Luka at 6. I think Luka just needs another player, and that's the next step for him. Jokic at 5, Curry at 4. None of these need to be explained. Sam already explained to them why they're top 10. I just rearranged the order. Now I'm gonna explain. Number 3, Kawhi. I'll tell you why. Kawhi got injured. The year before that, Kawhi and this Clippers team were favored to win the championships in 2021, 2022. That's how good Kawhi was playing before he got injured. Kawhi is being underestimated on how good he is. He literally is the claw. His defense he was able to stop Giannis in 2019, an MVP Giannis in 2019. He was able to stop. Imagine.
The whole Celtics defense wasn't able to stop Giannis, and they have a great defense, I will say. But I've had Celtics fans admit to me, like, we were able to win the series, but we never quite figured out how to consistently stop Giannis. However, one player in Kawhi was able to more or less effectively do that.
Kawhi was able to do that. Kawhi is being underrated. And I'm telling you, when Kawhi comes back this season, he's going to win Most Improved Player of the Year. I stand by that. And I don't
think that's possible.
I think that's possible. And he will be in the MVP conversation. He's not going to win, but he will be in the MVP conversation. But I got Kawhi winning most improved player. Number 2, LeBron. This is self-explanatory. A revenge season, comeback season. We all know how he felt when he missed the playoffs. I think LeBron number 2. And I'm not going to even explain number 1. We know why. It's Giannis. I'm sorry. He's the most dominant player in the league. I don't see any player better than him. That's my top 10.
All right. That's very well explained, Shrieker, actually. You have me convinced on some of these. You have me convinced on Kawhi, man. You have me hyped. Okay, so now let's move into, if you'll scroll down, let's move into looking at what our predictions for the playoffs at the end of the season are going to look like. So let's start with the East, because, we're on the East.
Okay.
East first, Sunrise.
Let's do number 10 to number 1. Let's start by that.
I think it'd be easiest to start with number 10 or
All
number
right.
1. Sorry.
Number one. Okay. I think I'll be honest here. I will be very honest. I think the Celtics are the first seed.
I was going to say Celtics or Bucks.
The Celtics or Bucks, but I want to put the Bucks there, but the Celtics just have so much depth. They have JT, they have Marcus Smart, they have Jaylen Brown. They have a trade from the Pacers, Malcolm Brogdon, a 3-and-D type
Virginia
player.
guy.
The Celtics will give a paperclip and a piece of gum for jewelry, like a diamond ring and a bag of that's mind blowing on how the Pacers are what the Pacers are doing in the organization. And I think next episode, Sam, future of the NBA, we could run a 2K. We could be the GM of the Pacers and run a 2K simulation and see how they do. That's a great idea. So Bucks number 2, hot, very, very, very hot take here. For number 3, who do you think? I'm gonna give it to you. Who do you think should be number 3? I said the first 2.
You know who I think it should be.
I'm gonna give the Hawks as number 3.
Yeah. And do not sleep on DeJounte, bro.
I will tell you why. They have such a great head coach.
Nate McMillan. Oh yeah.
Nate McMillan. They have Trae Young. They have DeJounte Murray, who finally has teammates to play with. They have Clint Capella, when not injured, is definitely a top 5 center.
Right.
Okay,
yeah.
So we got 10
great top 5 defensive center.
yeah.
And we can just run back another segment if it's
Yes.
What I will say for the Hawks is that one player very underestimated on the Hawks, DeAndre Hunter.
Yes.
He is a lot better than people. I mean, you saw in the final game of the Miami series, given we weren't going to get back into it, but DeAndre fought to the end, fouled him out on a stupid foul, a very stupid foul. I was very angry. We could have had a chance to win. It was getting close. He dropped 35 on the Heat defense. They were just like, you know what? They're not going to win. Just let DeAndre score. But he got us back into it. And he kind of plays like slow, very efficiently. Like it's not super explosive. It's kind of, but it's very athletic. It's good shooting. It's a little bit like Anthony Edwards a bit. Not quite to that same level, but that's sort of the style reminds me of that. And also he's bringing great perimeter defenders. So we actually have a good perimeter defense now that we did not have with Bogdanovich or Herter starting, with DeJounte Murray and DeAndre Hunter, Trey being the weakness, but the other two players, very, very good defenders. And you forget DeAndre Hunter won a championship with Virginia, a big, very crucial part of that team's defense, very crucial clutch shots in March Madness. Do not sleep on DeAndre Hunter.
Okay. Number 4, I'm going to give it to the Heat. I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory here.
Yeah.
4, I'm going to give it to the Heat.
I think if the Heat want to be legit contenders though, and not just like some consistent high seed who never quite makes it, they really need to add someone like Donovan Mitchell. They really need to add a starter who can score next to Jimmy Butler. A more talented scorer than Jimmy Butler. Because Jimmy Butler can score, but he's not the most talented scorer. He's not a Donovan Mitchell level talent of scoring, but he's an overall very good player.
Yep. Number 5, I'm going to give it to the 76ers. Actually, wait. Another hot take here. Number 5, I'm going to give it to the Raptors. They have great pieces.
Don't like that at all.
I'm going to give it. Come on.
Let me make sure we're not sleeping on anyone. Okay, explain why you think it should be the Raptors, because that just does not make any sense to me.
Okay.
That is goofy.
They have Scotty Barnes, Rookie of the Year. They have Evan Mobley's on the Cavaliers, right?
Mobley, yeah, bro.
We forgot about the Cavs. Okay.
No,
the Raptors.
They're not above the Sixers.
No. Sixers at 5. Okay, that's fine. I got Raptors at 6. They're gonna run it back. Fred VanVleet. They got so many good players coming back, and I forget the coach's name, but he's such a great coach. And
I would say that Heat and Sixers are interchangeable at 4 and 5 before we continue, because like the Sixers, I think James Harden's going to have a revenge season next season. I think he's going to be quite good. Love Tyrese Maxey, potentially most improved player next season. I think he could really just show up as an all-star next season. Joel Embiid, great. Hopefully they get something from Tobias Harris. I don't think he should stick around. I think they should trade him. PJ Tucker, very good hustle player, great veteran presence, wins championships. You saw him win with the Bucks. You saw him. I think he's been on a lot of championship teams. He's been on a lot of good teams. So I like it with PJ Tucker. I don't know about the Raptors at 6. I'm feeling Cleveland at 6. Tell me why you think Raptors.
Okay, for Cleveland to do better, they have to trade either Sexton or Garland. Those are two primary Those are two primary ball handlers, and you got a problem in Cleveland. You trade
Sexton.
Trade Sexton, right? Get a few pieces. Right. Get a few role players.
Maybe a veteran.
I'll put Cleveland at 6. But right now, I got Cleveland at 7, Raptors at 6. Those two can be interchangeable.
So the Raptors have a great young talent in Scotty Barnes. They have Siakam. Who's their center?
For the Raptors, I'm actually not sure.
Cleveland has 2 7-footers starting in Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. You would think that wouldn't work. It worked. We saw it this season. It worked really well. And they're all still very young. Also, they just added Ochai Agbaji, the best player from the Kansas national championship team. I'm a UNC fan. I watched the way Agbaji destroyed our team. 16
points.
And you lost. The way that Duke, you saw how Caleb Love flamed Duke in the Final Four.
Okay,
Agbaji was able to very much limit Caleb Love and not make him a factor. Duke was a good defensive team. They improved their defense a lot in the championship. In the championship run, right? Their defense got a lot better than it was in the regular season. Love was still able to flame them. This was not the case when Agbaji was guarding Love. Agbaji is a great defender, a very good shooter, played in college for 3 or 4 years, so he already has a bit of a veteran attitude. I really like Agbaji. I would want him to start over Okoro. If not, he's at least a great 3-and-D player off the bench. So the Heat not the Heat. The Cavaliers are already adding, like, that's a very underrated draft pick in my opinion. I wish Agbaji would have gone higher because I really, really like him, and he's already a very complete player.
Okay. You sold me. Okay, you can put Cavs at 6. I still think Raptors are at 7. They're a playoff team.
Yes,
they definitely are a playoff team. At number 8,
they are. I think they easily dominate in the play-in. Okay, who do we have at 8?
Hot take. I got the Pistons at 8. Cade Cunningham. You got Jaden Ivey. You got Sadiq Bey. You got Marvin Bagley. Shout out Marvin Bagley, a Duke player who is really good.
Low key, Marvin Bagley. It would not be crazy to me for him to be a candidate for most improved player. He was a number 1 recruit at a high school, dominant at Duke, did just as well as Zion did, if not better, because of Zion's injury. He just hasn't found the right team to be able to.
Yeah, he got drafted by the Kings. If I get drafted by the Kings, I would definitely not play that well if I get drafted by the Sacramento Kings
in the first place.
You know what? If I got drafted by the Kings, I would play like the worst player in history just to get traded. But Marvin,
I like Pistons at 8.
I would be a Greg Oden or an Anthony Bennett type player if I was drafted by the Kings. You know what? That's what I would do to get traded, but from the Kings. The Kings organization is so bad.
Okay, wait. We forgot about the Bulls. What about the Bulls? Where are they going? Are they going above the Pistons and Raptors? I think above the Pistons, not the Raptors, though.
The Bulls should be nowhere below top 6. I think the Bulls should be 6.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
When Lonzo Ball was healthy and he was in the Bulls rotation, the Bulls were the best team in the league. They were the best team.
But what was their record against those top 4 teams? What was the record against the Celtics?
I think it was the Bucks. They got swept by the Bucks. I don't know. I don't remember the Hornets or Hawks. They got swept by the Bucks.
I was looking at something before the playoffs. This is how I knew the Bulls were not going to do as well as I'd hoped they would do, because I really like their team. They have a great record against the bottom, however many teams, but they have a horrible record against the top 8 teams. They just weren't able to compete with those top players. Their big 3 just doesn't compare to like when you're going up against Giannis. I think it's fair to say you can put them above the Cavs. You want me to put them above the Cavs?
Put them at 6. Put the Cavs at 7, and put
Raptors at 8.
The Raptors at 8. There you go.
Here's what I'm saying. But even though they're higher seed, I think they'll have a good regular season. I honestly would think the Cavaliers will have a better playoffs in general.
Okay.
It hurts me to put the Cavaliers at 7 because that's sort of where they were last year, and I think they'll get better. And it's not that they aren't getting better; it's just that every team above them is getting better as well.
The East is such like. The East is such the East, not the Heat, but the East. The Eastern Conference is such a tight conference. It's to be top 5. We just went through like 7 different arguments for the top 5, except for number 3, except for the first 3. We just went through so many different topics. That's why
even after the first 2, I think are given. 3, we kind of a controversial pick with the Hawks. Maybe I'm a bit biased, but I really believe in them. But yeah, like. For the 3rd spot, you could honestly have it be the Hawks, the Heat, or the Sixers. You could even make an argument for the Bulls if you're a delusional Bulls fan.
Okay, we got one.
Most people would probably put the Sixers, but I don't know. I don't believe in Embiid as much as I believe in some of these other players. Number 10, I think despite the sexual whatever, Hornets, I mean, they just have really good young players. Hornets or maybe Magic.
No, the Hornets are not making the top 10 without. I think you could give them 10 to Magic or the Nets. Give the net 10 to the Nets.
The Nets. I think the Nets. I'm assuming they'll trade KD and Kyrie. Don't know if it'll happen, but they'll get a lot of pieces back for it and a lot of young talent. So I could see them starting to build something interesting, be a lot better in 2024. I think the Nets in 2024, if they're able to get rid of KD and Kyrie, could be a team that is in the playoffs, not the play-in. A team that makes it out of the play-in and into the top 6. We'll see.
Okay, so now let's move on to the West. Okay, so we talked about the Eastern top 10. Now we're going to talk about the Western top 10.
Number 1.
I will say number 1. It's a very, very hot take. I got the Nuggets going.
That we both agree on. I can't believe we both agree.
I can't do this, but I got the Nuggets going number 1. Jamal Murray's back. Michael Porter Jr. is back. You got Jokic coming off an MVP season. He's riding a high.
2 MVP seasons.
two actually, back to back. I got the Nuggets going number one. You can't fare from that. Nuggets going number
And
one.
then you also are upgrading some of your role players coming off the bench. You saw that they traded Monte Morris.
Exactly.
You saw that they traded Will Barton, and they're getting back Ish Smith, very saucy, underrated guard from Wake Forest. And you're also getting back KCP, great 3-point shooting, defensive wing.
Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
What they need is defensive wings surrounding Jokic. Jokic, as I said, not a great defender. Surround him with good defenders, they have a chance. Not sure if Jamal Murray is a good defender, but he's a somewhat big guard, so I think he can play defense. But yeah, you got KCP. It's going to be a good defender coming off the bench. Will Barton was also a good defender, but certainly not the tiny Monte Morris. So definitely an upgrade there.
Number two.
Yeah, and then Boogie has also been good off the bench, I will say.
Yeah, Boogie is good. I got number two. I got the Clippers. You get John Wall from Houston. You got PG and Kawhi coming back from injuries. And you got Reggie Jackson, who was so good last year carrying that team. And you got so many good
2 years ago. That was 2 years ago now, Streak.
2 years ago, my bad. You got Luke Kennard, a great shooting guard for you.
Oh, God, I hate him so much.
Luke Kennard from where'd he go? He went to the
he's a Dookie.
Yeah, exactly. No. You cannot say Dookie. Just say a Duke.
Everyone says
player.
Dookie.
You're just
Everyone
mad.
says Dookie.
You're just mad. Okay. You got Luke Kennard coming off the bench as a shooting guard who's very, very good on a catch and shoot. I can't see the Clippers falling below 5 if it doesn't work out. So I say Clippers number 2. Sam,
and
add
I will
that
also
to
say
the
about
list.
John Wall. I will say about John Wall. People are forgetting how good he was before the injury. He was that Westbrook type player, athletic. He I think was averaging the most blocks by a guard in NBA history. Very athletic, great defensive guard, great playmaker. He really, and I will say, he really made the people around him better. He was making people like. He made Bradley Beal better, I'd say.
He made people like Andrew Gortat be a really good center.
Marcin Gortat, yeah. People are looking at Gortat like, he's kind of an asset. As soon as he wasn't with John Wall, everyone was like, he's ass. Yeah,
Gortat was,
but he looked good with John Wall. He looked
Without
good with
John Wall, he looked good like average center. But when John Wall left, he was butt cheeks. I'll tell you that.
He's out of the league. I mean, but yeah, John Wall can make any center into a really great pick and roll player. Sort of the way that Trae Young does.
Number 3, I think the Warriors. Add Warriors to the list. Number 3, Sam. Running it back, you got the same pieces. You did trade your bench away for some players, but
they did get Dante DiVincenzo,
who's a great
championship
from Virginia, and you got some great assets coming in. You got Jordan Poole still, splash run number 3. I think Warriors are a lock in the top 3, maybe 2 or 1, depending on our hot takes. Sam, number 4. Another hot take here. Are we thinking the same thing? The big 3 and down in New Orleans. Put the Pelicans on the board, baby. Number 4, Zion, Ingram, Jose Alvarado. You got
CJ
McCollum.
The bane of the Duke Blue Devils.
Exactly. You have these players, and you're telling me the way they ran it back last season, you add Zion, who's a generational talent, and you're not telling me that team can't be top 4. Add that to the list. Again, Pelicans at number 4.
And I mean, they were giving the Suns buckets. They took them to 6.
They took
Jose
them to 6.
Was harassing Chris Paul. Brandon Ingram was playing like Kevin Durant. I mean, we see the way that Zion can play. If he can just stay healthy, I think he is determined to stay healthy. He will do all in his power. That is the biggest thing for him to prove this season. I think he's proven when he does play. He is great. He just needs to prove it. Dude, he's walking into 360 dunks.
He's walking into 360 in casual jeans. In his ugly ass
sweatsuits. In jeans. 360 dunks.
If bro did not, if he's not a generational talent, oh my goodness. He's walking to 360 dunks with jeans, bro. In jeans, in sweatsuits. In sweatsuits. Bro is insane. Bro needs to stay off those burgers, though. I'll tell you that right now. But if bro can stay healthy, the Pelicans are a top 5 team in the West.
Okay, now who do we got at 5 and 6? Because I think there are some teams that would, I think, be reasonable to have as people who make it past the play-in into the top 5, 6. I would say
number 5. I say Grizzlies at number 5. Grizzlies at number 5. Add that to the list. You got John Morant coming back. You got your same squad coming back. Grizzlies at number 5.
Young. They're all so young. Youngest team in the NBA, if I'm not mistaken. Or they were at one point.
They were at one point. I think Magic
OKC maybe.
Okay,
or Magic. Yeah. Some of those rebuilding teams might be younger, but Grizzlies definitely the youngest contending team. Okay, number 6. Before we say anything, there are a few teams that I think could have a reasonable grab of this position. We're not the Lakers. If AD is healthy, big if. If they get Kyrie, big if. The Mavericks, Luka, so good, was the 4 seed last year. And then the Timberwolves with adding Gobert. Which of those teams are we taking for the 6th?
I got Mavericks at 6, and I'll tell you why. You had Christian Wood, who's a great offensive player, a great three-point shooter.
But terrible defensive player.
Yes.
Defensively non-existent.
Yes, I could say your big three. You lose Jalen Brunson to free agency to the Knicks, and I say your big three down in Dallas is Luka, Christian Wood, and Dwight Powell. I guess that could be your big three.
Dwight Powell, no, Spencer Dinwiddie, I would say over Dwight Powell.
Okay,
that's not a great big three to me. Spencer Dinwiddie was only great off the bench or when like every player on the Nets was hurt. Luka, obviously great. Christian Wood, honestly, I do not believe in him very much. He gets bullied by bigger centers. He definitely can shoot. Definitely an offensive talent, but he just gets bullied by bigger centers. He's going to be a liability on defense. For me, that makes them a play-in team. For me, that puts the Timberwolves.
What? A play-in team? I don't think
I know there were 4 last year. I don't think
the Timberwolves are number 6. I don't put the Timberwolves at number 6. I'll tell you why.
They have the best front court in the NBA. I think that
you got the Twin Towers as your front court. You got a 7-foot cat and a 7-foot Rudy Gobert. You got Twin Towers as your front court, but they can make it work. They can take
it. Worked with the Cavaliers.
It worked with the Cavaliers. I say it works. But you traded your bench
Towns
away.
Can be a great power forward. That's true.
The Timberwolves traded their bench away. You traded a defensive player in Pat
starting
Bev.
lineup. The Mavericks starting lineup outside of Luka looks like a great bench for any other team.
But I think Luka's just that guy that's going to carry that Mavs team. I think Luka's the guy who's like a LeBron, but he's not LeBron. I think Luka's going to carry that Mavs team to at least a 6 seed and put the Timberwolves in 7.
Timberwolves at 7. Yeah. Interchangeable, in my opinion. Interchangeable.
Yes. Yeah. Honestly, I think there's 3.
I think 5, 6, 7. Yeah.
Yes. 5, 6, 7 are interchangeable. I think the Pelicans might disappoint us. We're putting high expectations at number 4. But who knows?
I don't think so. I really like the Pelicans. And they have a good coach, right? Willie Green, right?
Yeah. No, their coach is really good. And now at number 8.
Lakers, I think.
I don't know.
If AD is healthy, would you put Lakers there?
If they trade away Westbrook, yes. If AD is healthy and they trade away Westbrook, I got Lakers at number 8. Because the Lakers, here's the situation, right?
And you say you have this LeBron revenge season, so I think they should be at least playing.
Look, here's the situation with the Lakers, right? You have a bunch of these old guys who can still play, but not at the level they played before. You got LeBron at 37 playing like he's 27, averaging, God Lord, 30.2 points per game, right? You got AD when he's healthy. He's a top 15 player. Definitely, he's not top 10. He's not better than Embiid or Giannis or anybody in this top 10. I think he's a top 15 player. He's definitely one of the best when he's healthy, right? The environment that Westbrook is in right now with the Lakers is really bad for the team in general, right?
And I would say that outside of those 2, 3-ish players, you kind of, especially with Malik Monk gone, that's a big thing. You're kind of looking at like a senior citizen's home because you have Dwight Howard, you have Avery Bradley, like Trevor Ariza. These guys are on the verge of retirement, bro. Like LeBron is really bringing back like the old whippersnappers from his day. It's not looking good.
The environment that Westbrook is in right now in the Lakers, I felt like the Lakers use Westbrook as a scapegoat. And I'll tell you why. That all this hype, right? You're paying Westbrook around $40 million to put up average stats with 18 points per game. And that's really good. For some players, 18 points per game, 7 rebounds and 7 assists, that's really good.
For a former MVP.
But Westbrook, who's a former MVP and who one of the greatest point guards in our generation to ever play the game, and he's putting up that kind of numbers, but you're paying him like a superstar type player, that's going to create some buzz. And the Lakers are one of the big market teams in the league, right? They have such a good history. They have one of the top, so many good players that played for that team. And I think Westbrook is in a bad situation. Now, if you trade Westbrook to the Nets and you acquire Kyrie, and a few other picks, now that's a different story. Because now
they're getting like, I think what's happening is that they're gonna give a pick. They're gonna give Kyrie, and they might have to give THT So giving away even more of their young talent. They're really in win now mode. They're in this situation. They are not having any more young talent besides like Austin Reeves. But they're getting back Kyrie and probably like a catch and shoot guy, like maybe Curry or Joe Harris, more likely Joe Harris, which is good because they need shooting.
They need shooting.
And Kyrie and
they don't
Joe
have
Harris
any depth.
definitely
They
need
don't.
shooting.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah. So I say Lakers at 8, but that is such a
Right.
questionable call because of injuries
Because we'll see if the
and,
Nets
and the
actually make
environment
any
and the
trades because the
market.
Nets are
Yeah.
crazy about how much money, like how much they want.
At number
Like,
9, Sam, I don't
what are we
know.
thinking?
I don't know.
I'm thinking, what about
I
the
think
Suns?
Portland. I got Portland at number 9.
Over the Suns, though?
I put Suns at 9.
9, you could put them high. You could put them above the Lakers. You could maybe put them above the Timberwolves. I don't know, but like I just like I think you have to get better to be able to compete. Like if you're a competitive team, you're a really good team. In order to stay that way, you have to keep getting better because everyone's going to be all these GMs are hunting. You could you know what? Maybe put them at 7. Maybe put them at 6. What do you think? Where do they belong?
I would put the Suns at 7. I honestly would because they're not better than the Mavericks. They showed us that last year. I put Suns at 7, Lakers at 9,
And
Timberwolves
like I
at
said,
8.
the Mavericks got better.
Yeah, I put Lakers at 9.
Yeah,
and
I'll put
Timberwolves at 8.
Yeah. So then who's snatching that last seed? You think it's the Trailblazers?
Okay, sorry.
What about the Kings? What about OKC?
You said sus as the 7.
Good one.
I'm sorry.
Little sus.
I'm sorry. At 10, just put the Trailblazers. I think Damian Lillard is gonna run it back. I got Timberwolves at 10, but they're not gonna go past the Lakers. I'm sorry. I think the Kings and OKC need time. They need time. Time is what they need because you got
I think
Chet
might, he might take time to develop.
Chet inside the paint is gonna get steamrolled by the
not
big
as badly as Christian would, bro, in my opinion, but okay.
Okay, yes.
The Trailblazers also, it's not just Dame because they are getting better. They got Nurkic re-signed. Nurkic and Dame are a great combo. They kind of upgraded CJ for Anthony Simons. Low-key Anthony Simons, just as good as Jordan Poole, maybe even better. Most improved player potential. He's very, very good, and he won the dunk contest. Very athletic, much more athletic than Poole. That's kind of, and he plays like he's great. And then you have Jeremy Grant, who great 3-and-D wing, can be a primary option for like Detroit, but I think works better as a sort of role player, secondary, tertiary scoring option for Portland. This is actually a promising Portland team. I'm actually, for once in my life, I'm a little bit excited about the Trailblazers. I've not been able to say that
just
for a very long
once,
time.
Sam. You weren't excited just once, bro?
No, I've never been excited for the Trailblazers. I've always wanted them to lose. I've never liked Damian Lillard, but I kind of like the pieces around him right now. Not that I don't like Damian Lillard, but I've always thought he was overrated. Back in the days, when he hit that shot against the Thunder, people were like, "Oh my God, he's as clutch as Curry. He's like Curry." I was like,
"Stop!
No.
I'm done.
Y'all
I
are
got.
silly.
I gotta leave this podcast.
You know what?
I gotta leave. I gotta leave.
No,
No, I can't. I can't do this. I can't. You say you don't.
People were saying that. People were saying that, and guess who was right? He's not Curry. He's good, but I mean, if you look at his stats, like Damian Lillard at 18, he had a lot to prove. No Finals MVPs, no MVPs, no All-NBA first team. No all this stuff. And if you look at him now, it's still he doesn't have any of that stuff. He has all-star appearances. Like that's all. If you look at that Modelo commercial with him, he's a 6-time all-star. That's what they're putting him at. That's not even that many all-star appearances for how old he is, bro. Like that's really not that many appearances.
Dang, the Damian Lillard
that's like
slander.
Those are his awards. Yeah, bro. I'm sorry. Like he's a great player, but he's not accomplished, and he's not making on these top 10 lists. I'd love for him to prove me wrong. I'd love for this team to be good, but I think if Portland is going to be good, it can't just be Damian Lillard. Like I know Damian really wants to be the face of the team, and he will, but he has to bring Anthony Simons into that spotlight as well. I think for them to be good, he has to bring Jeremy Grant into that spotlight as well.
Okay.
They have to have a legitimate big three and not just big Dame all the time.
Okay. Well, okay, guys. So we made our lists. We have our East, we have our West, and we have our top 10 players. Now,
do we do our awards?
Let's do our awards. Most improved, MVP,
defensive player
of the year, rookie of the year.
All right, for MVP, who are you thinking?
Y'all already know.
You think it's Giannis?
Greek freak. I got Giannis as my MVP. He was close to an MVP last season.
Third MVP. You know how many players have 3 MVPs? Let's look at the list of players who have more than 3 MVPs.
Jordan, LeBron,
Kareem,
Magic.
I think that might be it. So a lot of players have one or two MVPs. You'd be surprised. Some of your favorite players have only like one MVP.
Durant has one. I know that.
So Kareem has 6, Bill Russell 5,
Whoa.
MJ 5, Wilt 4, LeBron 4, and then at 3 you have Moses Malone, very slept on, underrated all time, Larry Bird,
Whoa.
Magic Johnson. That's it. Everyone else has 2. So if he were to win another MVP, Giannis would have more than Curry. He'd have more than Durant, more than Kobe, more than Shaq, more than Tim Duncan. So you for MVP, you have Giannis.
I have Giannis as my MVP.
And you know how much that would mean now that I just named the company he would be up there with:
Yes.
Magic, Larry.
Yes, I have
Moses
Giannis on
Malone.
my MVP. I got Giannis on my MVP. Most improved. I said it before. I'll say it again. Kawhi Leonard, the Claw, as most improved. My rookie of the year is Paolo. What he did in the summer league, dominating. I got Paolo. And for defensive player of the year, give me Giannis again, or give me Embiid. Those are my
Wow.
That's my list.
Okay. For me, okay, so MVP, I think this is the year. I think we've seen flashes of it. I think it's going to come out full time. This is Luka's year. Okay. I have him as the 3rd best player in the league. Giannis and Jokic already have their MVPs. This year, Jokic won MVP. He arguably was not the best player in the league. He was top 3. He was arguably not the best player this year, but he still won MVP just for the stuff he was doing. Luka's going to be a big star next year. He's already a big star. This year, he's going to be the best offensive player in the league, in my opinion. He's going to be putting up shots. He's going to be putting up lots of points, 30 plus per game, lots of assists up there, like in the 9s realm, lots of rebounds up there in the 8s or 9s realm. That's a very good stat line. The Mavericks are going to be a better team. Will they be as high according to our rankings? They'll be 6th, which they were 4 this year. But, I think he has the potential to push for a 4-3 placement. If he does that, definitely MVP candidate. I think it's Luka's year to shine. The narrative is there. People forget a narrative is like an understated part of the MVP. People don't want to admit it's there, but a narrative definitely adds to the MVP race. And I think Luka has that narrative. He hasn't gotten it yet before. He's the young star everyone's talking about. I think it's going to be Luka Doncic, Luka Magic. He's going to get his first MVP, first of hopefully many more to come. I like him as a young player.
Okay.
Most improved player. There's a few. Marvin Bagley is one of them. I think if we're right about him, he has a chance to really shine in Detroit and be one of their big 3, if not their best player, because he is such a great talent. He can dribble and pass like a guard. He is a great post player. He's huge, and he seems like a very smart player. So I really like him in Detroit. He's starting to find his group. I think this is the year he really does it. Also, potentially Anthony Simons. This could be his year. He was great last year. If he's great again this year, he'll get more attention. And then lastly, I think those 2 are big ones. Who?
Rookie of the year and
no,
defensive player
this
of
is
the
not
year.
No, I'm thinking of another. There's another most improved player I had. I forget who it is. That might have been it. Okay, rookie of the year. I think Paolo. He's going into a situation where the Orlando Magic offense is terrible. So there's definitely a void to fill of a number 1 option player for them. They have some good pieces. They have Wendell Carter. They have Jalen Suggs, who could be great pieces around Paolo. Paolo is their star they need. And I think the other rookies have been drafted into teams that already have other pieces. So they're going to be sharing the spotlight with others. Paolo is going to get the full spotlight in Orlando, be able to put up a lot of big numbers. That looks like rookie of the year to me. And then for defensive player of the year, I'm liking this trend of it being a guard. Well, I do think it could be a big guy. I do think it could be potentially a
Drew Holiday. It
could be Drew Holiday. I think he's a better player.
I didn't add him, but I forgot him too. But Drew Holiday.
He's a better defensive player than Marcus Smart. They're very good. They're both very good. But Holiday is the best.
100%. The things he did to Damian Lillard.
In terms of a big guy, the things he did to James Harden in James Harden's prime. That year where James Harden won the MVP, he looked unstoppable. Nobody could guard him. Drew Holiday on the Pelicans gave him a bit of trouble. People were talking about that. Drew Holiday gave him trouble.
Gave him work. Drew Holiday is a top 10 defensive guard and defensive player.
Great defense. Drew Holiday is a big reason for that.
Exactly.
In terms of big guys who can defend, looking at Bam Adebayo, potentially.
Okay.
If you're looking at a young guy, maybe Evan Mobley, and then of course, the Greek freak Giannis. So good. Maybe even Jarrett Allen. Like, Cavaliers have a lot of great defensive players. It's a toss up for who could get defensive player of the year. I mean, Gobert is always there, looming in the background, putting his ticket in. So yeah, there are a lot of potential defensive player of the years, but I like the narrative of it being Drew Holiday. I like it as a guard. Someone else, maybe not a guard, but not a big guy, Kawhi. Kawhi's a great defensive player. So I think Drew, Kawhi, maybe one of those big guys I mentioned, but I think Drew or Kawhi, because I like it going away from the big guys for a little bit, because it's been them for so long. Yeah, so those are all my predictions. Coach of the year, Willie Green. Don't at me. Or Nate McMillan. One of those two.
Yeah, I like Nate McMillan as my coach of the year. Okay, so we talked about our awards. And now comes the top part. Who is your title favorites? Who is your favorite to win? I think it's the Bucks. I mean, the big three is there. They got Marjon Beauchamp. They got some key role players that they traded for. They got great defense. They got another scorer in Marjon. I don't see the Bucks, and they have an MVP level player in Giannis. They have Drew Holiday, who's such a defensive menace. They have Chris Middleton, a great scorer, and also an underrated defender who they were missing with the Celtics when they played the Celtics. I got Bucks running it back. 2022-2023 champions. Your Milwaukee Bucks.
I think that's very reasonable. I would also say that it could be the Bucks, but I want to go with something a little different from Streaker. I want to say a team we've been really hyping up with some players returning that are very hyped for, the Clippers. You look at PG-13. Okay. Indiana Pacers, P, amazing. This year, P, amazing. He was great. He went out. He really didn't try very hard, it seemed, in the play-in tournament. But when Kawhi went out in 2021, playoff P that year, after that pandemic P slander, Paul George came back and looked amazing. And he's a really great player. Kawhi, obviously championship DNA. We've seen that guy win multiple championships, and we've seen him like really just carry a team on the defensive and offensive end. So really great piece to have next to playoff P. Not playoff P, sorry. Good P, PG-13. And then we have John Wall, who, like I said, makes everyone better. Good passing guard, very athletic, also a great defender. So it looks like they have a lot of good defensive players. I also forgot to mention PG-13 is also a good defender. And then, yeah, they have Kennard. They have Reggie Jackson. They have one of those Morrises. I think it's Marcus. And then they have Zubats, who had one of his, I think it was his best career year last year, looking really good. Most points, most rebounds, a great center for them. Doesn't have to be super talented by any means because he's surrounded by so many great players. He can just kind of do his thing, use his size. That's a really good team. That's a championship team. Great defenders and great scorers. Clippers.
Okay. Well, that was episode 1 of NBA, the future of the NBA, episode 1. Episode 2, we're going to pick some teams that are in the trash right now in the NBA. We're going to be their GM, and we're going to see what things we can do. And we're in a 2K simulation with Sam's Xbox and 2K22. We're going to run a 2K simulation and see, can these teams be a championship team? But that's for next episode. Thank you guys so much for listening, watching on our platform, and we'll hope to see you in the next one. Peace.